Hey everybody, we're live. I hope you're well. And I'm here to talk about the update of the construction project progress of the Oakland Athletics Las Vegas ballpark. And you might say, well, how come, why doesn't he call it that? Why doesn't he refer to it as the Oakland Athletics Las Vegas ballpark? And it's very simple because its construction and idea was originated really as the is Howard Terminal in Oakland, and the Las Vegas version essentially was a response to the facility not being able to get off the ground in Oakland, and so it's difficult, in my view, if not impossible, to think of this as a project separate from Oakland when really the Athletics were trying to do it in Oakland. They were trying to build a ballpark, uh, trying to get it off the ground, and really trying to build a city that ultimately would be on 55 acres of land and consists of $12 billion of new construction by the time it was completely finished. I would say a good 10 years after the assumed groundbreaking in 2027. But none of that happened. I'll talk about why that didn't happen. But right now, what I want to present to you is, well, essentially where this facility is. Now, I found this photograph. This goes back to May 25th. May 25th. And if you remember, this was just about around the time of the groundbreaking. Now, what you have here are a couple, actually, you have three sets of cranes that are on what would be the easternmost side of the property, which is here. And that 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 side of the property is, so I'm circling it right here. But that side of the property, you see the three cranes there? That's the easternmost side of the property. That was actually where the Oyos Hotel was. Now all that is well, everything on that side of it is gone. That were parking lots primarily. The hotel's just on the outside of it. Oyos like Okio, excuse me, is still there because it wasn't owned by the landowners there. It was just outside of it. So Oyos, so however they pronounce it. At any rate, that area was parking where those cranes are, and you would go around the bottom of the picture and then essentially turn up or left to go out toward where the MGM is. Well, all that has been smoothed out, and now you have cranes there. Now it would appear to be, well, little else going on than that, right? But that was, again, May 25th. And demolition it went through. There was a lot of grading of the land, moving of soil from here to there to get ready for the purpose of drilling what are called caissons that go many, many feet into the ground that serve to help anchor the structure of the ballpark. And so that was the preliminary work to get to the point of developing those caissons, those driving, the act of driving these giant steel sticks, if you will, into the ground. And I mean huge, 90 feet and so on. At any rate, the question is, where are we now? What does it all look like at this point? And what it looks like at this point, it really is thanks to Duntov has his great um, um, so that's not what I'm looking for here. I'm trying to get it there. Has this great video, and what I was trying to do is show you. Here it is. There it is. Well, that's not what I want. I was trying to show you the update that he put up and that he presented, and what I will do is put it to that's not what I want you to see. So I'm trying to find the right one, folks. So what I'm going to do is go to this area where Twitter is. I'm going to go to Twitter, and then I'm going to come back from it there because it's not showing what I want you to see. And then I'm going to move over here. I'm going to add this to the stage. And remove that one, and then add this to the stage here. Then I'm going to go back and change it with the video that was produced by Duntov. And here it is. This is up here. And yeah, right there, I'm going to freeze it. Okay, because I don't want my idea is not to show his video playing, but to show where it is. It gives a great idea. And I'm going to move it from where it is right now back a little bit so that you can gain a better perspective of where things are. And he's got a lot of close-ups here, as he's wont to do, but he starts out with this is a better view, okay, here. And I'll put it back just a little bit more. There we go. All right. Now, this may not look much different, but it actually is. What you're looking at is the north side pointing north of the ballpark. The east side is to our left. You can't see that. If you remember the original that I showed you from May 25th, the cranes you're looking at were not there. That entire area was smooth, flat, smooth. And if we go through this video that he's posted, you can get a great idea. You start here and let's just go just a little bit in, just a little bit right about there. Okay, and let's see if he pans. Yes, see that he pans. Okay, now, all right. Okay, originally cranes were over here, on this side, closer. Now they're over there. So let's go back over this way. All right. So yeah, cranes. There were 3 cranes over here, and now, yeah, let's let this run a bit. We come back from there. There's that. As we come in, stop. Okay. We see, okay, stop. And we see this 3 cranes here. This one was going back to May 25th. There are 2 that were moved, but they're not clumped up into this area as they were on the 25th. Now some are over here. All right. So let's just keep this running. And there's the additional ones here. All right. So you have more activity on the land, as you can see. And so eventually he takes us to a place where he starts to focus in, like right there. That area was completely empty, but he's giving us a close up, and the closer in we go, the more we realize we're looking at some gigantic I mean enormous earth moving equipment. And if you begin to count what you see, there's a greater number here than there was on the May 25th photograph, by far. All right? I mean, by far. Okay? You can get an idea of how big this is. The man is just standing right next to it. So we're in the middle of a gigantic construction project. This is not something you fake for those people who are desirous of making it seem like nothing is going on. No, these equipment that are there point to the fact that there's a lot of something's going on. And here's another something going on. This is a kind of a roller device that they're bringing in that's going to be for an even larger vehicle. All right. So you see that? See, all right. That train of that track train is basically what it is. A track of wheel. There's a term for that kind of device that moves along the ground in a caterpillar like fashion. But it's a component that goes to a larger vehicle, which means they're going to bring in something much larger to work with. And so that is, and so you get a better idea where it's at as we move further out. And even further out. So they're bringing in these devices that hold this equipment that's connected to other equipment to do the job of forming the ballpark foundation. And this is not something done overnight. It also, you could see the boring here. This is caliche in that area that's being destroyed. That's why you have these holes, so that you can burrow further down and eventually get all these steel and this latticework structure that will form the base of the foundation into the dirt, and at the same time reform the dirt so that it becomes this kind of seat or tray, if you will, for the facility. So he does a good job of giving us, here's another view. As you can see again, remember our original shot, a lot more people, a lot more activity. And keep in mind that, look at the work they've already done in terms of boring, putting in these different kind of risers in the ground, right? And you can see by this truck how big the other structures are. So I'm going to go further a bit, and we come out and we get a better idea. Now you can say this has been worked on for some time over the past month, as has this, but there's more going on around it. And so let's see if we can move this just a little bit. They're zooming in. Let's see how far he zooms in here. You can see the people walking a bit, and then he stops there. Okay. I don't know where he's going with it, but I know where we're going. And so then we can move, as you can see with the little close-up, the spotlight. Still the center of activity is more toward that eastern area of the property. As we look toward, if you look here, back to the start, we'll eventually wind up looking toward the west. All right, but you see how this is built in. This is an example of them boring into the ground, putting this kind of shaft around it so that it's deep down in there. This will form the superstructure of the ballpark. That's one of a number of structures that will grow up together to form the superstructure of the ballpark. And also they have started to erect, as you can see, these giant cranes. And there are going to be more of them. That's way far in the distance, by the way. But I believe it's being stored. That's not another site. I think they're actually storing that for this project. And so, let's see what he's got here. And then he's got more scenes of these. You can see this rebar driven into the turf. More of these examples of building the foundation and driving it into the ground and reforming the ground. And even more examples like this one. Okay? Far more. So it should be clear now. Here's another. This is the side where you have the Excalibur, Luxor. This is the side that's pointing to the west. Okay? The MGM Grand is on the right, pointing to the north. And if we were able to pan over that way, you would see it. Okay? So this is a great video to look at. I urge you to really dig into it, give it the whole full 35-minute look. Duntov has done a fantastic job. And Mark has, if you look up, yeah, he does. Oh no, that's why I'm referring to him. He and I know each other. Mark Duntov and I followed each other going back to the original construction for Las Vegas Stadium, and we were sort of competing with these different types of videos. He had the advantage of being there, whereas I had other people. I would go into Las Vegas and I would go over there, in an Uber and get videos around it, right? Or I would have other Zenny 62 vloggers like the late Joseph Amandares or Richard Haight go over if they were in Las Vegas. So we know each other very well. We follow each other on Twitter now. So I think, and so don't be surprised if Duntov is on my channel very soon. Vegas says Oakland must think Vegas has some not so secret economics recipe. I will deal with that stupidity a little bit later. Not saying what you said was stupid. I'm not saying that. Mark says construction, not demolition, has been going on for months now, and makes the vloggers that keep doubting the project look really clueless and petty. Mark, I think what people really need to understand is that this project is undergoing a standard process that for Las Vegas really started with the Raiders' construction of Las Vegas Stadium, which is now called Allegiant Stadium. There's little different between the two, and if you look at, if you're a student of stadium construction in general, you know that this is on its way. You don't fake this. Again, the people who are opponents of this should spend more time asking one question: why hasn't Oakland done anything to produce a proof of concept, an idea that baseball can come back to Oakland? Here's how a new facility would look, and here's why Oakland should be considered as the #1 candidate for the expansion of Major League Baseball. The simple fact that Oakland has sat on its hands and has done nothing of an official nature shows you how different this city of Oakland is versus the city of Oakland of the 1990s and 80s and 1990s. The project really started in 1983, the effort to bring the Raiders back to Oakland from Los Angeles, all right? Right now, there is no effort to bring the A's back or bring baseball back. There's nothing. Now you have Portland moving ahead and everything else. Nothing. Okay? Vegas Mark says Vegas recipe secret sauce, or at least part of it, is rears in seats, heads in beds. Yeah. So, and then he says, for starters, Oakland needs a legit convention center. Well, Oakland needs to have the will and establish the will and the initiative to complete big projects. Okay, I mean that's what's going on, and Oakland does not have that anymore. It is too busy contemplating its navel, making problems that every city has look like problems that only it has, and has not figured out how to solve. The homelessness problem, for example, the problem of the transition from offices to residential, which is what you need to do in downtowns to keep downtowns vibrant. Oakland hasn't gotten that message and done it. Other cities are doing it or trying to do it. Look at what's going on in Detroit. Look at how they've revitalized their downtown and brought in an entertainment center and district. Look at the blueprints that other cities are laying out for conversion of office to residential. All right, Oakland can have all that and still and put it in the context of sports. That's what should be happening at the Oakland Coliseum in conjunction with the African American Sports Entertainment Group. But the city of Oakland is content to sit on its hands and do what it does best, which is next to nothing. Oakland, and I'm sorry to say this about the city that I love and the people that I know, but I'm tired of it. I'll be 63 August 4th. I've lived this. In 1999, I had what is still Oakland's only effort at trying to land the Super Bowl game. We lost the right to host the 2005 Super Bowl to Jacksonville. It was Jacksonville, Oakland, Miami. And as the news publications of the time will tell you, the Oakland Tribune, the San Francisco Examiner, and the San Francisco Chronicle, that I did it, quote, single-handedly. That wasn't a term I created. That was Laura Counts of the Tribune who used that term. You have to have determination and desire to get it done. We have to have an extra amount of determination to overcome the doubters. And Oakland has far more doubters than encouragers, and that's why Oakland looks the way that it does. All right? That's why Oakland looks the way that it does. Oakland can overcome, Oakland can survive if Oakland wants to. But the A's fan need to be pushing Oakland to do something. That's why I'm saying, hey, look, you guys don't care about Oakland at all. The majority of you, because you don't criticize what the city does. You don't look at city government. You're not interested in the structure of the government or who did what or why at all. Raiders fans could tell you who the leaders were that were behind something and who wasn't, and who weren't, who the shirts and the skins and the plays were. All right, A's fans don't have that level of interest in saying who the shirts and the skins were with respect to the government actions and the infighting and everything else. That's where you should start as an A's fan. Okay, you should know that. And otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, you're not authentically an Oakland A's fan. And I want to address something that really needs to stop. The Oakland Athletics need to stop acting like Oakland never happened. It did happen. The Raiders don't do that. You don't see Mark Davis. And when I saw Mark last fall at the Atlanta Fall NFL owners meeting, we were talking about Oakland as if, yeah, they're still doing this, and yeah, they're doing this, and yeah, it's not out of our mind, okay? And as Mark will tell you, that Oakland is in Raiders' DNA. Well, like it or not, the Oakland A's take what's in their DNA to Las Vegas. The Athletics in Oakland played in a substandard stadium lease environment, which netted them with very little money, a tiny bit of money, for which they could use to build a baseball team, let alone make the changes they wanted to make to a ballpark they don't own. All right? This is an entirely different situation. The A's own the revenue stream that comes into the ballpark. The county of Clark County, through the Las Vegas Stadium Authority. Las Vegas Stadium Authority is owned by the Clark County. They own the stadium, but the revenue stream is owned by the Oakland A's. Very similar to the Raiders setup for Allegiant Stadium, and it's the structure of sports facilities today. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that. And I want to thank you for your input. And please share this around, folks, and let people know. I'm going to make more of these videos to keep up the word. I agree with the last dive bar people, on the matter of using Oakland. Oakland, the use of the name Oakland, the city name, should never be out of the picture. The A's should want to be called the Oakland A's when someone makes a mistake. They shouldn't get upset about it. You can't erase it. It's impossible, okay? It is impossible. So why try? It's no insult to anybody from Las Vegas. Those proponents who claim to be fans of the Athletics in Las Vegas need to embrace Oakland as well and get into the habit of doing what I do. Talk about what Oakland's government didn't do. That's vital. All right. Thanks, everybody. Live long and prosper. All right. If you can see yeah, there we go. All right. Thank you so much. That ends this stream.